What's up, everybody? It's Tiffany Stone alongside Erik Miller. Now, Erik, you are a two-time king here, looking for that third one. You know, we don't have that many kings here for King of the Hammers, and to be there and 2 times, you know, how does that make you feel?
It's always surreal to come out here. I really love Johnson Valley. I mean, I'm an East Coast guy. You know, I was born and raised in Maryland. So the first time I ever came to California was to race King of the Hammers. It was pretty overwhelming at the time, and I think we've won it twice. And man, countless other podiums here at this race. The last few years have been like, you know, a third, a second, a fourth. It's been like one small issue, you know, kept us from the top. So that eats at me, and we're here in 2025 hoping to go for that third crown.
Well, talking about that, you've got 3 different laps. But what's kind of crazy is Dave threw a curveball this year. You're not really knowing what the third lap is until Friday evening. So no pre-running, you have no idea. Co-driver is super important for this because he's reading that map on the fly. How does that change your strategy for the race on Saturday?
So I love the concept of lap 3 being released the night before the race. For us, it adds another element of strategy, difficulty, which is why I love King of the Hammers. It's like the toughest off-road race in the world, and it's one of the reasons really I run AMSOIL. It's something that you have to have the best parts in the car, and in addition to that, you have to be able to cool those parts because this race is so grueling and so demanding. So that's been something we've worked years on, testing differentials with the 250 weight severe gear oil. That's been a big help for me keeping gears alive at King of the Hammers, because like this race, it's rumored, I don't know if the winner's gonna finish in the sunlight. So, I mean, we're gonna be out there over 8 hours. You know, lap 3 is completely unknown, and it's just, I don't know, it's exciting to see the race continue to change. I mean, we've even joked about like a night stage, right?
Yeah.
You know, turning King of the Hammers into a multi-part event. I mean, we're already doing that. We're out here for 10 days, 2 weeks at a time to get ready for this event. It's like nothing else we run all year.
Well, and going a little bit further, talking about strategy, we always talk about pit strategy. Usually you have main pit, RP1, RP2. No RP1, RP2, which is outside of the rocks, is now your only outside main pit, or outside remote pit from main. How does that change that strategy as well?
Well, it makes life a little bit easier from a logistics standpoint, but from a co-driver standpoint, the race got more difficult, right? You only have one pit out there near the rocks. When you come back into main, fueling is really important. So for us, we're still planning that strategy. The fact that we don't know what's going to happen on lap 3 continually changes. I've been in touch with one of my teammates that he hasn't made it out for a couple of years, but he's able to work remotely helping us with the GPS tracks. Actually, in his prior career, he used to help map fiber optic cable under the ocean. So it's crazy all the different talents you bring together to put a winning program together. My job, putting the car together, driving the car, I think that's the easy part, right?
Yes.
It's all the other stuff it takes to win out here. So figuring out that strategy using only one RP, it'll be tough for sure.
Well, and we got a chance to talk to some other people who have won, especially Shannon Campbell, 3-time king, Kyle Cheney, 4-time for the UTV race. Now he's, you know, building that 4400 car, and that's just showing the evolution of where the sport's really going. From somebody who's been here for so many years, how does that make you feel to see it evolve to where it's at?
The thing that drew me to Ultra 4 was the evolution of it. I qualified for this race in a cut-up Jeep YJ. Like, it wasn't even a tube car. It was literally a Jeep, a simple vehicle. You know, I kind of started this when it was super grassroots, and that's the appeal of it. I mean, it's pro-level racing, but with all the different classes. Everyone has a place. You can come out, you can get your feet wet and learn how to get into this and build a 4400 car. And that's why standing in front of this car here, this is our production chassis. We've been building this thing, since we've been developing it for 10 years. It's probably the most proven solid axle platform on the lake bed.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of guys have gone away from. And it's interesting because we've talked about the race evolution.
Yes.
I built a car that could win on the East and win at King of the Hammers. We've proven that it can do it. But the race has trended toward more IFS. It's been a sprint the last few years. And, you know, leading up to this, I said, man, when are they going to bring the element of difficulty back? Because really, it's just who can survive as fast as you can go through the desert and a couple rock trails. Well, this third lap, I hear, is going to change everything.
Well, and that's what I wanted to talk, IFS, solid. It's like those have been the 2 things, and now you're even putting in different types of shocks. We're putting in bigger tires now. We're changing the game. Like I said, Dave changed it where in order to race 4400, you had to have a minimum 37-inch tire. So that's changing it already. And it's so much of like the desert loop. We always talk about the desert loop. Do you build a car that is fast enough for the desert, or do you build a car that is great in the rocks, or how do you do both?
I've always said this race is lost in the desert and won in the rocks, and I still hold true to that. For me, especially like with lap 3 being unknown and potentially longer, as fast as the UTVs have become, I don't know if they have the durability. This thing's a hammer. It's a bulldozer. It will last. So I really think you're going to see on Saturday fewer cars finish than in years before. I really truly believe that it's going to be a low car count for finish because the attrition rate is going to be so high.
And that's what a lot of the announcers have been saying too. They think it's going to be like that DNF percentage is going to be higher than any time before. It's different. Now that King of the Hammers is on such a worldwide spectrum, more people come out, the trails get a little bit rougher. You're looking at things like backdoor. You know, I've got that 18 JL. I've gone up backdoor twice, taken the race line. Can I do it probably now? I don't think so.
It's amazing how the trails in Johnson Valley evolve. I don't think you could get your front tires on backdoor right now. It's so deep. We went down it in a UTV 2 days ago, one of the Can-Am Maverick R's, and stood it up on the nose. I mean, the hole's probably 13 feet deep. So just to see, but I've also been up backdoor when it was a 2-foot speed bump in a RZR because the sand will fill in due to the weather. So that's another thing to consider. We had snow, last Monday? Yep. I think that was a blessing because it allowed the moisture to kind of wick into the ground instead of rain, which is going to wash everything out. So we're out there pre-running. The dust conditions are low. I think it's going to set it up for a good race on Saturday.
Well, speaking of that, I know you, like you said, you're looking for that third time. Third time's always a charm, especially after, like you said, you've podiumed so many years, and it's just little things here, little things there. Taking all that knowledge, what do you think it's going to take that top spot now? Because you've got knowledge from this year, knowledge from that year, and then you're putting it all together here for 25.
I think that's a great question, Tiffany. I think you have to be there at the end. I think you have to have a car on lap 3 that you can race and race at 100% of its potential. So if you've hurt your car in the desert or on lap 2 of the rocks, or got up in jackhammer with the leaders and started trying to race through on lap 2, I think those guys are going to be the ones that are dropping off first. So I have to keep that in the back of my mind. That's always been our race strategy, is to be there at the end to be able to race. But it's really hard to contain it when you have all these fast guys from all over the world. I mean, the race has turned into just an absolutely amazing event where you have the best of the best here.
Well, and it's so cliche to say this, and I've always said it, in order to finish first you must finish. And it's super cliche. So one more thing, I know that you're going to get out there, because like you said, there's a possibility we're gonna have to go into the dark, and so now you're putting pre-running in the dark, something I've seen a lot of EMC guys are out right now.
Right.
But what do you think it's really gonna take? Like, is it just the perfect combination of pit strategy, no bottlenecks in certain areas, tires gotta stay put together, drive shafts gotta stay put together? I mean, really, what do you think it's the one key thing that may break it, though? I've
always said that you have to have a perfect day at King of the Hammers to win. I mean, there's a ton of talent out here. The littlest thing from a flat tire to a bent drive shaft can end your day from a win.
And we saw that last year with Casey.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So
really, this race, as long as I think it'll be, I just think you have to be resilient, be consistent, and be aggressive the entire day without hurting your car. You have to be there at the end, and that's
well. Last thing.
Yes.
Like we talked about, Dave's not releasing those, but you're pretty familiar with all the rock trails out of here. What trail do you think may be added to that third lap that hasn't been added before? A few years ago we saw King's Veto.
Right.
So that was added, and it's been fantastic, and we've seen the huge bottlenecks within the last 2 years there. What trail do you think may be added to that third lap that hasn't been touched?
I think we're going to see a lot of uncharted stuff. I think that I don't think that he's going to throw extreme difficulty at us on lap 3. I think it's going to be long, and I think we're going to be in spots where we're questioning whether we should be there looking at the line. I think that's going to be the element of difficulty, is being able to navigate and being able to be the last few guys there and hit the course. Right? That's always the thing at the end, is did everybody get their VCPs, their RCPs? Can you navigate? So I'm expecting to pull cable a couple times on Saturday, just because of the length of the race. I think that they'll put us up some hard trails that we'll be trying to climb waterfalls we probably shouldn't be. And it's not going to be for me, it's not a pride thing. It's a, if you have to rely on the winch, that's another element of King of the Hammers, right? You gotta play out the risk versus reward,
and sometimes pulling cable is just the fastest way.
It absolutely
because
is.
then you know it's going to get up there, you know exactly what's going to happen. But that also goes to a great navigator, a great co-driver, pulling all that.
That's true, and that's why we built 2-seat production chassis. There's gonna be a lot of guys out there in a single seater. Sad that they chose to pick a single seat car for this race on Saturday.
Yeah, well,
I believe that.
Best of luck to you. I know this is going to be a great race. Erik Miller's going for that third time's a charm. It's, nobody wants to be the bridesmaid. No. We all like being the bride. And
that's right.
Erik, best of luck to you. This is exciting. I am truly happy because I feel like this year it's anybody's race.
Yeah, that's right. So watch us, guys. Wednesday, the 4400 class. We're going to be qualifying out there on the short course here in Hammertown. Tune in, see how we line up for Saturday.